Hey beautifulnesses, Juicelicious Jude here. MJ, just kind of, I'm going to be doing a couple of things, which I will have on here. I want y'all to know about. I will be posting them. I've got some classes coming up if you're in the Arizona area. And I also have that I'm going to be, just doing some juicy joint stuff. Juicy joints. And also, I'm going to be doing a couple of classes for some things in a couple of different realms. One of them will be astrology. I actually attempted to do an astrology class the other day on here. It was so long. I mean, there's just no way. I'm like, there's just no way to do this besides do a class for it. So I'm gonna have to make it a class. It's just way too much information. But yeah, it's happening. So I mean, I already have everything. I've been doing it a long time. But anyway, I'm here always. If anybody needs anything or wants to join in to any class, just look me up on here and also on my website, thevisionexchange.com, and then you can find a lot of information there or on this channel. So today, getting on with it, and by the way, subscribe, hit the like button, spread the word. And also, we're talking today, let's get into it. A lot of people have been asking me about this stuff, and it's really hard because we want to get into the red flags of a toxic relationship. And when I say a toxic relationship, I can mean a family member, I can mean a work situation, like a work person, somebody that I have to work with, my, anybody in my family, any friendship, any lover, obviously, is one of the common things that you see. But any relationship suffers this, and if you have it's like we don't even need. I took psychology. I don't even want to go into really. Well, I'm going to use some of the terms of it because we all have a little bit of all of it, everything in us. It's just to the degree that it really controls us. So I feel that when we talk about these things, it's important to start out just to say narcissism and these kind of terms might be brought up here. But also, don't think that I'm saying that everybody that I'm saying these terms to are narcissists necessarily, or maybe they just have a low key of it. Who knows what? But let's start out. But just keep that in mind. But I just want to point out there's going to be about 11 keys I'm going to point out to you today. But the first thing before we get into that, I'm going to say to you, people are always running around talking about I'm codependent, so I attract narcissists. Yes. You know why? Because you're codependent. That means you're weak. And that means that you are definitely trying to attract somebody. It's like, a cat knows it can catch that thing over there, but it still wants to do it anyway because it doesn't have anything. Like, I mean, it's just how juicy is that prey. Maybe it's the best supply, or maybe you're learning something. But whatever it is, don't think for 1 minute that codependents are in any way the victims of anything. They're just weak pussies, really, is what it comes down to. And I think that, not to say that I'm making something right or wrong. I'm just if I was to be on one of the spectrums, I'd be up there. I want a warrior on my side. I don't want some pussy. So I don't know how much I really give a shit about codependency because at some point it's the same as narcissism, just on the opposite spectrum. And I'm sorry if you don't agree with that. It's just the way I see it. So, and know it, actually, my own truth. So, really, those two things are both weak on different spectrums of the weakness. And they both really kind of aren't really that sexy to me. But the only thing that's sexy kind of about the narcissist, a little bit, is that they're just a little bit more clever. So you've got the covert and the overt, of course. But the covert, I think and I'm pretty sure we all know this, and if you don't, what I say right now will resonate with you. I mean, if there's an overt person that's trying to control you, you can feel and see that right away. Unless you're so codependent that you really like it, and it's actually just an exchange of how the hell you turn each other on somehow or something. because it gets to be ridiculous. I've seen people go through this bullshit and they like it and they don't know they like it. But anybody else, Ray Charles could see they like it. They don't know. But the thing is, we're going to go on with that. So the overt, so you can see the overt right away, a lot. And still, it can be hard for a codependent to get away from them because they're the polar opposite. But it's the covert, those sneaky, sly fellas you got to watch out for, or girls, or gals. You got to watch out for it because they can be anywhere. They can be in your family, whatever. They use it a different way. So I'm going to start with that. So I just wanted to get through that codependent part, but we're going to go in now to the number one red flag. Anyone that you're dating, that you just met, and they want to give you so much love bombing. They want to give you words of praise. They want to praise you. You're the best thing that ever actually happened, man. I mean, I don't know. They have all the same dreams as you, and if they don't, they want them. They just find them so interesting that they just want to. They hang on the edge of their seat about it all, and then, they're doing that all the time. Which sometimes if you've been alone a while, or whatever, it's like, oh, well, that's nice. Isn't that just nice? Just like you will get fooled again by you just won $100,000 or something, and it's bullshit. But you just there's something inside you that just does it anyway. Well, it's kind of like that. But the point is this. It's just, and again, it's very nice to be honored and be, for what you are and what you do. It's also very strange when and you'll know, and that's the other thing, is trusting our own intuitions, our own awareness. Because I think so many times we're like, oh, so everybody does that sometimes, or this is like that, or that's just the way it is, or that's just the way it goes, sometimes it just goes like that. No, when you're feeling that something's not right in your intuition, and somebody's like, oh, you're wrong. No, I'm not wrong, because especially if you've done the work on yourself and you've spent that time to really to connect, or you've always had that gift, or however it goes for you, there's nothing that you can feel that's just wrong. It's not because you made it up or you wanted to see it or thought you see, but they'll tell you that you didn't see it, and that's another red flag. So not, and then when you okay, I'm sorry, that's number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6. Okay, so I think I have more. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and just whatever they are. But this one is just don't, and then if you ask for them, I'm going to call this number 2. If you ask them, so say you're in a relationship, or you're in whatever you are in any relationship, and a relationship is 2 people together. That means that if you're in a relationship of any kind, 2 people need to come together and agree on things in order for it to be a relationship, right? Whether you're working with them, whatever's happening. So if you do not at that point have an agreement that has both been worked out, then one person's going to do something, the other person, there's no relationship. That's one person doing their thing, So that's where people are really have a hard time with relationships, because it takes 2. It takes 2 people, y'all. I gotta really agree to whatever it is you're saying to me. And if I don't, then it needs to be brought up again. If we're gonna change it, if we both, it's 2, where 2 or more are gathered. This ain't no Lone Ranger situation. Not a relationship. If you're on the road and you're on your own and you're the Lone Ranger, that's fine, man. But even I bet him and what's his name had whatever. But the thing is, that's a whole nother situation. Everybody really kind of has to have someone, usually. Unless you're I don't know who you are. I mean, even Dexter should. But the point is, a relationship takes 2 people to agree to something. If 2 people are not agreeing to it and one person is lying, whether it's for a good reason or not, you have every obligation, if you're in a relationship and your agreement is this, then you need to honor that agreement. And if you don't, then it's called lying. It's called selfish. It's called a lot of things that I can think of. But either way, if you don't want to tell everybody, disclose your information to anyone like that, you shouldn't be in a relationship. You know, my parents, they weren't together for a long. They're not in a relationship. Neither one of them. Well, my mom's in spirit now, but when she was here, but my dad, like they just both of them have chose not to be. There's several things I could say about that, but I can say that I do admire it on some levels because it's really nice to be able to just, know this is going to suck. And not because I'm closing my heart down. Maybe they were. That's the part I don't really know exactly. But because I choose that I don't want to deal with this bullshit that somebody's going to be feeding me in the next minute. Because when you start to see it after you've seen it enough, it will shock you at first, but then you'll start to get it. Okay, so then let's just move it on. Move it on up, or maybe down. So we're going to go to they keep you separated. This is not all of them, or all of the toxic relationships, but I'm just saying this is a flag to watch out for. If they keep you separate from as much as possible, or altogether from their life, or anybody that really knows them, or if they just keep it as much as they can, like, oh, let's just go over. They don't like it. They don't really want you getting too close into what they know or do because there's something they're most likely hiding, or they're hiding from themselves. So again, we don't really know if they're lying to themselves. A lot of them are lying to themselves, and therefore, because they have to believe their bullshit so much that they lie to, they're lying. But they think they believe it so much they have to script it out to themselves so much over and over like a hamster in their heads that they finally just believe it themselves, or they're intentionally lying. Because if I say to you, I would like it really, I really don't know whether you're my lover, whatever, you're my boyfriend or just a friend, whoever you are, or even just my sister coming to visit or whatever. There's just one thing I don't want you to do. Just one thing. Please don't do it, right? And then I'm like, please, just don't do this one thing. And then you come in and you do it. You just keep doing this one thing I ask you please not to do. Well, either you're retarded and you don't know what the hell I just said because you weren't listening to me because you don't give a shit what I just said as I'm giving you a place to stay, or you're doing it on purpose. There's really not many options to this, folks. Not many options there, is there? You're either doing it on purpose or you don't give a shit what I just said. That was very important to me as I'm, you know what I mean? Don't do this one thing. Now, I can understand if it was an accident, but I'm talking, you know what I'm talking about. I'm just using this as a metaphor. It's like I'm telling you, I really can't talk to you. I understand if it's important or a quick thing to text me, but I really just don't communicate in that way. And then they just keep doing that communication. It's like, after a while, it's like, what, did you not hear? I mean, obviously, I hate that. I've told you a million times, but you don't give a shit. And so that's okay. But we should have defined the fact that we're not going to be in a good relationship together because I can't stand that shit. And that seems to be your main course of communication. It's almost like you didn't tell me you didn't speak English when I met you. You know what I mean? Like, fuck. Like, let's just pull it together here, folks, with that. And we'll start to become aware of that kind of shit because it's like, why are you doing that? Like, if I don't like something that you like or do enough, I will, and that's another course we're going to get into. But I will either do it or I would just not want to be with you really because I would see that it wasn't going to work. Anyway, well, whatever we can all do to try to figure it all out. So, you don't know anybody that they know, mostly, but they know everybody that you know. And they like that. And they get involved. They like to come in. That's what they do. They like to come in right around this time, and they like to do things, or they've probably been doing it the whole time with the love bombing, but just the doers. They like to do things for you. whatever it is, whether they have money and they can just buy you things, or they can only do acts of service, so they come on and start doing shit for you. I mean, just anything they can do to do something to keep you, to keep being either to suck your energy or to lie to themselves that they need you because they still haven't found themselves. Either way, it's a shit show. So, yay! I know this is so exciting, but I do have some exciting things that happen with it all. I just need to get through these red flags. We also want to watch out for the mirroring. There'll become a time in some of these red flags where you'll see them starting to mirror you, or saying, like, maybe they'll be at dinner, or you'll just see them. They'll just start saying stuff that you say, or talking like you. And I'm not meaning that some people can't do that because they've been in a relationship. They just start picking. I mean, you'll see it, you'll feel it, your intuition. Once again, do never doubt it. If it's there and you're feeling it, if you're all in touch with yourself, and they'll mirror you, they'll start to talk the same bullshit that they're spouting out that they don't even know about, really. And you got to watch between these two things. Self-reflection, I've always said that's the main umbrella of it. But watch about words and actions. They'll talk a bunch of bullshit about, and I'm not talking about the little things that they like to do to throw in there to make you confused, crazy making, to make you confused that they're actually in love with you, or that they'll really, what they're doing is trying to figure out who the fuck they are, and you're the brightest thing they've seen, and they've attached yourself. They want to suck your light. So basically, that's where your skunk medicine has to, and I have another video about that. But you need to be very, very careful about that. And careful meaning hunting, like you're hunting a rabbit. But, just be careful about that shit. Careful. So, they're mirroring and parroting you, their words and their actions. They're opposite a lot of the times. You'll say, well, why did you tell me you were going to do this? And you notice this is where this comes in. Oh, hold on real quick before we move on. Friends of yours that they make, and they start to talk to them. Yes, again, there's exceptions to this rule, but really in the whole scheme of things, I don't know any of your people, but you are chummy with mine. It's just very strange. You want to watch out for that shit too. And if they start friending your friends on a social media or making weird things, just be careful. Watch it all the time. Watching out. Skunk medicine, heart open. No big deal. No pressure or anything. But anyway, so we want to move on from that. And then we want to say, okay, well, after they're doing the words, if you call them on this shit, then if they feel like they've gotten caught in the act, even if they don't realize they're doing it and they just are pissed off because this is what's happening, well, they'll start to deny it at all costs. If you have the Moses tablet in front of them with their name in it, and they did it, they will still find a way to tell you that didn't happen. I mean, they just ain't gonna. They're not going to. They ain't gonna admit that they did shit ever. And I mean, if they do, it'll be a half-assed situation. I'm telling you, these people do not like it. They're shame-based people. That somewhere along the line, they just can't take something about any kind of criticism. If you're just giving them an argument that in a relationship, they take it as a shame-based, some kind of it hits them, it triggers a little narcissistic or a toxic wound, whatever they are, whether they're cluster Bs, diagnosed full-blown mental disorder, or they're just fucked up toxic for you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't fit. And you need to, look at these flags sooner than possible. We don't have to waste much time now. We can just move on and bless them, whatever. And then so after they deny it, then they like to deflect it. So if it can't be their fault. So then they have to start, they were love bombing you a day ago and you got the tablets of Moses to prove it. Now they are deflecting and pissing all over you and devaluating you. So you are no have no actually they just can't. I mean, and you're just like, what? I was like, I what? And I have the tablets of Moses. You just said I was this, and now you're saying that, and then they don't even know what they said. Crazy making, crazy. And if that so, and along with that goes the gaslighting, which is sometimes the real covert ones will really go to this extent. They will be malicious or whatever, and they will start to hide things from you, or you won't be able to find something, or they'll tell you something, and then, no, I never said that, even if you can show it to them. But sometimes you can't find it, things will go, I mean, just all kinds of things to make you think that you're going fucking crazy, and it's really sad. That's a really bad one. That's a really bad covert one, and I've had a couple of people like that around. So you want to be really careful of the gaslighting, and you need to be paying attention. That's another thing, focused on your intuition and staying clear that you're not fucking crazy. And even if you have to, I've just known a couple of times I have to write. I'm like, this is so crazy that I need to write it down every day to make sure that I know what just happened and I can clarify it. Because if you don't, sometimes you'll just get so caught up and you're like, what the hell? What do you mean you don't? I mean, it's crazy. So you really do need to make sure if these things start to happen, you want to be prepared. Denying, deflecting, projecting, lying to themselves or to you. It depends on how cunning. A lot of these guys and people, girls and gals and everybody, they on the planet, they don't even know that they're lying because, like, again, as I said, they've had to make it so into themselves the truth. So watch this all. Okay, now the devaluating, we talked about that. Now, the next thing that they will do is they realize that you have, most of the time they can keep people going. That's not very conscious to keep this cycle going for many years, if not forever. But basically, you want to watch out for all of that. But what will happen if you become wise to this, or you are aware that you can't be in a toxic relationship, or whatever you want to call these people that aren't even, if they're a step ahead, they're cunning, they're a little bit more like the mental disorder types of the cluster Bs, then you will see that, or even if they're just even, if it's a toxic relationship mostly and not just a cluster B, you'll see that both of you will kind of like be so frustrated about it too. It's like, I don't know, man. This is just really, I mean, there's just different levels, and it's really hard to diagnose, even when you are trained in it. It's hard to know what the hell. I mean, but there's something wrong. So do we really need to know? Something's fucked up. Let's realize that. And I know that you don't want to give up too soon, but sometimes it's time to just, if you don't create a void in your life, you can't get another void to come through to fill that void, or something that could be great for you, whether it be another person or it be a situation or whatever. Sometimes, you got to know when to let go. So the next thing you'll see is running away, orbiting you, or hoovering you, which is basically ghosting you, which is the running part. They'll just like go ghost without trying to even have a proper conversation with words or, whatever. They can't handle it. And, so they'll run and ghost you. Or they'll orbit you, which means that they're not really hoovering you because they're not reaching out to you, hoovering you, like, how you doing, like these kind of like things. They'll orbit you though, because they'll just be on your Facebook, whatever, and they'll be either, you can see, and they don't try to hide it. They're looking at your stuff. That's okay, orbiting. And then there's the hoovering, where they keep reaching out through words, and then there's the running, just the complete ghosting, because they're complete pussies and they don't know how to deal with anything. Or they're on to their next vampire hunt. So, or they're just toxic and you just need to not be with one another. So, I mean, there's a lot of things to think about here, but what I want to really say is let's just remember the inside job. Just, if we can just please, 40 days, 40 nights. I mean, it took me so much longer than that, but I mean, even if somebody was to embark on just being completely alone, for 40 days and 40 nights with no one. No one. No one. No one. No thing. Nothing. You know? Then you would become Lucifer. Lose the fucking fear. Lose it. I mean, I'm not saying I'm lost at all, but I definitely know I've done the work way longer than 40 days and 40 nights in a jungle or a desert. I can guarantee you that. So if somebody can't do that, I mean, without working, without anything, just there. Of course, your supplies. Just get your ass out there. Are you afraid to be alone? Completely alone for 40 days and 40 nights. Then do it. There's a lot of places you can go. Anyway, I just don't know how much more I can say about this, except for much more. I just don't know how much more that I have time for, but it's really important that we really remember to honor the inside job, which is, I mean, I actually went to a therapy called photon light therapy today. And I'm still the investigation's still out because I was recently exposed to some mold that I wasn't told about, and I got ill, and nobody seems to know what to do about it. So this is a new therapy that I've begun embarking on, and so far I feel like it's like probably the best thing I can do right now, because it's really bad, y'all. So make sure that you can go and get the little dishes at Ace Hardware to test your things somehow. Just look it up, man, and be careful when you're getting contractors or anybody to come around and make it airborne. It gets worse. It can get into your stuff. It's really intense, and the black mold is deadly. It's not, and some, just like bee stings, sometimes they hurt somebody, sometimes somebody can be fine. Mold, everybody's constitution is different, and anybody that is in the business of doing anything that could expose it, you are responsible for people's health when you do that. So just know that too. Maybe you should take a little class on it or something before you try to know that you think you can know what you're doing with that. You have to be a mold specialist to be able to deal with that. But you can at least try to test it yourself. But just be careful, because it is real. It's a real thing. And be careful. Take care of yourself, always, of course, in the highest ways, but always that I do that every day. It doesn't always work out the same way that it does for another constitutional being here on this planet with this physical body. So be careful, take care of yourselves, and again, I'm always here for the things that I know on the planet, which is a lot as far as the body and the healing goes, and the medium world. So you can always reach out to me for anything like that, and your pets, please, as well. And, or just any questions, concerns, or anything you want to share, as long as it's not negatively too much, because I will not like that, because I cannot stand that energy. I know there's got to be a way. If you don't share my opinion, out of all these channels and all these people in the universe, all the DNA disasters alone, I mean, surely there's someone else that you can share an opinion with without having to go on, if I haven't directly done anything to you, to have my own knowingness to just go away. If you don't go away mad, just go away, and otherwise stay. And stay, and we'll hang out, and we'll keep doing our stuff. And I'm going to be doing the class. I'll be posting these things, especially if you're in the Arizona area, but also the astrology class can be done on the web too, so you can be anywhere. And for homeopathy readings, obviously if you're doing raw thing, you're gonna have to be here physically most. That's the only way that shit works. But and the juicy joint classes, but we can even still do those remotely. So anyway, just know I'm here, and we're all in this, man. We're doing this. The earth will keep us together. Think of me, babes, whenever. Yeah. You know, when your spine starts going down, I'll be around. I'll be stop, straighten your spine. I don't know. Anyway, it's funny. But I just wanted to say these things. So the red flags that we want to watch for is just, basically we already know intuitively what's going on. We just don't want to know it because really it would be so much nicer if it just wasn't happening that way. But it is, man. People that love each other, whether they're in any what relationship or even if they're just respect, period. It's just not cool, man, to not involve another person in the relationship when there's two people in it. So people, a lot of people are just very immature. They have mommy parent issues. I don't know why, some of us just didn't have to, we didn't go through all that. But anyway, the point is, it's not about whether they're in a cluster B form in psychology of the actual disorder of narcissism or however it is, because we all have a touch of it, everyone. We all have an ego. It's just, do we let it guide us, or do we keep our heart open and self-reflect? So we want to keep an eye on these red flags again, and just be good to yourself. And it's never easy to say goodbye, especially if it's a loved one. But the more that we become aware, awareness precedes transformation. When I become aware of something, then I'm aware of it, man, and I can feel it's leaking my energy out. I don't feel good. There's like just something dragging me down around it. Pay attention to your inner feelings and the energy in your body. Where do you feel it? And get your intuition back in alignment with your balance and your prayer, guides and angels of the light, a tribe of light, people of like mind. Just do anything you can that makes you feel good, not if you want the higher in preference to the lower. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you want to. It's okay. Sometimes you gotta go low. Sometimes you want to get high. Well, I already done a lot of low shit, man. I think I'm pretty much, ready. I'm going raising on up. So if you're doing that too, man, just stay tuned and you can ring that bell, or you can say like and it'll ring your bell, I think. Or you can push the bell. You can ring that bell. But anyway, just be cool, keep your joints juicy, keep on keeping on, and I will be out with more juicy joints. I know I keep telling you all that. But it's because I'm trying to figure out, I was trying to get my garden together, which by the way, I have eggplants and I have a lot of shit going on in the ground. It's so exciting. But I just haven't found the right time to have it out there because it was so messy. I was getting it all together for a while, and I'm just making excuses after excuses. But I will figure it out eventually. I just don't know exactly when. That is my commitment to this relationship. Although I really do think about it a lot. I just, I have not a lot of props. I guess I don't have. I just wish things were a little different in here or outside. But so just be patient. They'll be out. But you have the juicy joints in the meantime that you have and the posture. But we're going to be doing the live stuff at the classes here in Sedona. So just stay tuned. And maybe I'll record them then. And then everybody can join on with that. That's something to think about. Anyway, stay juicy and stay high. Stay in touch with your higher soul. And writing your shit down if you need to. And also keeping everything flowing and moving and laughing and crying and singing and dancing. All right, man. I'll be back with more. Have a beautiful existence right now.